All right, so we're diving into some AI stuff today. You sent me this article, Use AI for Better Data Management and Security
Oh yeah, that one.
by Saad Sheikh. And it's from January 2025 on Medium.
Hmm.
And it's got a really cool promise to it, not just, the concepts of AI, but actual, like, demos
Yeah.
of AI in action.
Right. Yeah. I think that's one of the most exciting things about this article is that it's not just theoretical.
Yeah.
It's really getting into how this stuff is being applied right now.
Exactly. And that's what I'm super stoked about, right? We're going to actually see how this stuff works. So before we get into all the self-healing networks and AI that can, speak Kubernetes shake, he really emphasizes this idea of data foundations.
Oh,
And he uses this term modern data lakehouse,
yeah.
which sounds pretty fancy, to be honest. What's the big deal here?
So it's really about being able to deal with the sheer volume and complexity of data that we're dealing with these days, especially in multi-cloud environments, right?
Yeah.
You've got structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data,
Mm.
all kind of living together. And the modern data lakehouse isn't just a storage space,
Yeah.
right? It's actually like a foundation for AI to actually do its magic.
Okay. So it's like what? Prepping the canvas before the masterpiece?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like you can't have the AI brilliance without the right data setup.
No AI brilliance without the right data setup.
Got it.
Yeah.
And this is relevant, I think, even if you're not like a hardcore tech expert, right?
Right.
We all generate data all the time, and understanding how it's managed is
Mhm.
becoming like this essential digital literacy
Absolutely.
that we all need to kind of wrap our heads around. Now, the article goes on to talk about autonomous networks and these different levels of automation, and this is where things start to feel like really futuristic, right?
Yeah. So what's the leap like from where we are now, this level 4, to this like holy grail of level 5 automation?
Yeah. So level 4 is already pretty impressive, right? You have these self-healing systems, automated tasks, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But level 5 is where AI goes from like reactive to truly predictive.
Yeah.
So think about it this way.
Okay.
Instead of just fixing network congestion after it happens, a level 5 AI could actually like anticipate that congestion based on traffic patterns and prevent it from happening in the first place.
Whoa. Okay. That's a huge shift though, right? Is that level of like prediction even realistic? What would it take to get there?
Yeah, so the article really emphasizes two key factors.
Mm-hmm.
One is real-time data ingestion, right?
Uh,
Being able to like take in all of this data as
mm,
it's happening, and then powerful AI models that can make sense of that flood of data. So imagine an AI that's analyzing network behavior, security threats, user demands all at once in real time and adapting to those changes.
wow. So that's giving AI some serious multitasking skills
Uh,
if it can handle all of that. Speaking of like understanding complex systems, the article also highlights something called telco-centric LLMs.
Hmm.
Now, are these just like glorified chatbots for telecom companies, or is there something more to it?
Yeah. So these LLMs, they're actually trained specifically on telecom data, right? So they're not just like spitting out generic responses. They can understand uh, industry jargon, network configurations, even operational procedures.
Oh, wow.
It's like having a digital telecom expert on call.
Okay, so instead of just answering basic questions, these LLMs can actually like help manage the network.
Right, yeah. And think about the impact that has on operations. Think about generating optimal network configurations,
Yeah.
troubleshooting complex issues, even writing reports and documentation. All of these tasks that usually require, significant human expertise. These LLMs could streamline these processes drastically.
Wow, I'm seeing a theme here. It's like AI is taking on the heavy lifting so humans can focus on, the more strategic stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
The more creative stuff, the more problem-solving stuff.
Speaking of streamlining complex systems,
Hmm.
the article also mentions these hashtags, hashtag K8 ChatGPT and hashtag going back to Kubernetes.
Right.
I mean, those sound like they came straight out of like a tech conference, right? What's the
Mhm.
story there? What are we talking about?
So those hashtags represent a really interesting intersection of AI and Kubernetes, which is, as you know, a powerful system for managing containerized applications in the cloud.
Right, right. Kubernetes is like the conductor of an orchestra, making sure all the
Yeah.
different applications are playing together nicely.
Yes, exactly.
But even with that analogy, it can be a bit daunting to actually configure Kubernetes.
Oh, yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
lot of moving pieces.
So now imagine being able to control that orchestra with natural language commands.
Whoa.
Right. That's what these tools like K8 ChatGPTs are aiming for, making Kubernetes management more accessible by letting you talk to it, almost like
Okay.
a human assistant.
Okay. So instead of wrestling with like complex code,
Yeah.
You could just say, hey, K8 ChatGPT, scale up my application to handle the holiday rush,
right,
and it would just handle it.
that's the vision. And the article mentions actual demos,
Mm.
OpenShift Lightspeed and Ansible Lightspeed.
Right.
These are real-world examples of this in action.
Wow. So this is not just theoretical. This is
Hmm.
actually being implemented. This is all incredibly cool. But before we get completely swept away with all the possibilities here, the article does highlight some important challenges,
Yeah.
right? I mean, data governance and privacy come to mind, right? Like AI needs data to function, but how do we balance that with, protecting sensitive information, especially in an industry like telecom?
Yeah, that's a critical consideration. Companies really need to be transparent about how they're using AI and what data they're collecting. Users should have control over their data,
Yeah.
and robust security measures are essential to prevent unauthorized access.
So it's about building trust,
Yes.
right? It's about being responsible stewards.
Absolutely.
The data that's been entrusted to us. Makes sense. Another challenge that the article mentions is the skills gap, right? I mean, implementing and managing these AI systems requires specialized knowledge.
Yeah.
So how do we prepare our workforce for this like AI-powered future?
Yeah, education is key. We need to invest in programs that equip people with the skills to develop, implement, and manage these AI systems. Uh, and this goes beyond just technical skills like programming. It also includes soft skills like critical thinking and problem solving.
It sounds like we need a holistic approach, right? Combining technical prowess
Mhm.
with an understanding of like the broader implications of AI
Nice.
and how it's going to impact society. And speaking of navigating this new landscape,
Hmm.
what about vendor lock-in? If we become too reliant on one company's AI platform,
Yeah,
could that limit our choices in the future?
that's a valid concern. Open standards and interoperable frameworks are crucial here.
We need to be able to uh, mix and match components from different vendors, ensuring diversity and choice in the AI ecosystem.
So it's about striking that balance, right? Embracing the power of AI
Yeah.
while maintaining control and flexibility
That's
in
something.
how we use it. Now, the article mentions one final demo that
Yeah.
I'm particularly curious about, and it hints at AI not just automating tasks, but actually enhancing like human creativity.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, we've talked about AI handling complex systems, but creativity is, usually seen as this uniquely human domain.
Right.
What is this demo all about?
I'm saving that one for the next part of our deep dive.
Oh, okay.
Stay with us.
Welcome back. That last point about AI and creativity, it
Yeah.
really got me thinking, like, what is that final demo all about?
Okay, so picture this. We've been talking about AI managing these complex systems like Kubernetes, right?
Right, yeah.
But what if you could interact with those systems using like just plain English? Almost like having a conversation with Kubernetes,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So this demo,
Mm-hmm.
it showcases this tool called K8's SGPT,
Okay.
and it lets you control Kubernetes
Wow.
using natural language. So, it's still like early stages, but imagine the possibilities here.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need to be a coding whiz to manage cloud infrastructure.
Right.
You could just tell K8 SGPT what you want, and it would handle all the technical detail.
That could be revolutionary,
Yeah.
especially for people in creative fields.
Exactly.
Think of a filmmaker who wants to create this complex visual effect.
Mhm.
Instead of needing to learn, all the ins and outs of Kubernetes,
Right.
they could just describe their vision to K8 SGPT, right?
Yeah, and the AI could translate that vision into the necessary code and configurations.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like having like an invisible team of tech experts working behind the scenes to
Yeah.
like bring those creative ideas to life.
It's fascinating to think about like how this could democratize access to these powerful technologies, right? Empowering artists,
Right.
designers, anyone with a creative vision
Yeah.
to do things that maybe they couldn't do before.
It's not even just about making things easier.
Right.
It's about opening up these new possibilities
Exactly.
that were previously inaccessible to
Mhm.
people without that deep technical knowledge.
Okay, but let's bring things back down to earth for a
Yes.
second before we get too carried away with the future, right?
Right.
The article does highlight some important considerations about AI's present, right?
Yeah.
We touched on data governance and privacy earlier,
Hmm.
but what are some specific steps that companies can take to ensure they're using AI responsibly?
Yeah, I mean, I think transparency is paramount, right? Companies need to be upfront about how they're using AI, what data they're collecting.
Mm-hmm.
Users should have a very clear understanding of how their data is being used and what control they have over it.
So it's about building trust,
Yeah,
right? It's about being open and accountable.
absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
trust is essential here, especially when you're dealing with sensitive personal data.
Right.
Another key aspect is addressing potential bias in
Oh.
these AI models.
Oh, that's a crucial point, right? Because AI models are trained on data.
Yes.
And if that data is biased,
Right.
the model's going to reflect those biases.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to carefully curate the data that's used to train these models,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that it's representative of the real world
Yeah.
and that it doesn't perpetuate existing inequalities.
So it sounds like an ongoing process, right, of
Yeah.
monitoring and refining these models to
Yeah.
ensure that they're making, fair and equitable decisions.
Precisely. We can't just set these AI systems loose and assume that they'll, you know, always do the right thing.
Right.
We need to be vigilant and we need to constantly evaluate their performance.
Okay, so we've talked about data governance, privacy, bias. What about the skills gap? How
Yeah.
can we prepare our workforce for this AI-powered future?
Well, again, I think education is key, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need to invest in training programs
Mm-hmm.
that equip people with the skills they need to thrive in this new landscape.
And what kinds of skills are we talking about specifically?
It's a combination of technical and soft skills.
Okay.
On the technical side, we need people who can develop, implement, and manage these AI systems. This
Mm-hmm.
includes skills like programming, data analysis, and cloud computing.
Okay, and on the soft skills side?
We need people who can think critically, solve problems creatively, and communicate effectively.
Mm.
Those skills are becoming even more important in a world where AI is automating a lot of those routine tasks.
So it sounds like we need to foster a workforce that's like adaptable,
Yes.
innovative, ethically aware.
Absolutely. It's not just about teaching people how to code.
Hmm.
It's about helping them develop the skills and the mindset. That they need to navigate a future that's increasingly shaped by AI.
Now, Shake's article also raises the issue of vendor lock-in,
Yeah.
right? How can companies avoid becoming too dependent on a single AI platform?
One strategy is to prioritize open standards and interoperable frameworks,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
This allows companies to mix and match components
Yeah.
from different vendors, reducing their reliance on any single provider.
So it's about maintaining flexibility
Yeah.
and avoiding putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Diversity and choice are essential for a healthy and dynamic AI ecosystem.
This deep dive it's been incredible, right?
Yeah.
We've explored so many facets of AI's impact on data management,
It's
security.
a vast topic.
It really is.
Yeah.
And we've gone beyond just the technical details
Oh,
to
exactly.
consider the ethical, the societal implications of this technology.
Absolutely.
All right, we've talked about building a solid data foundation, the
Mhm.
potential of autonomous networks, the
Yeah.
challenges of data governance and privacy, right, and the need to prepare our workforce
Mhm.
for this AI-powered future.
Yeah, it's a lot to consider.
It really is.
Yeah.
But there's one more aspect of the article that we
Okay.
that we haven't discussed yet,
Okay.
and it's one that I find particularly intriguing.
All right, I'm intrigued. What is it?
So the article mentions these demos of AI in action,
Right.
Openshift Lightspeed and Ansible Lightspeed. They sound like fascinating examples of how AI is already being used
Yeah.
to simplify these really complex tasks.
I mean, we've talked about them conceptually, but I'd love to, dive into the specifics. Like,
Yeah.
what do these demos actually show us?
Yeah.
How are they pushing the boundaries
What's that?
of what's possible with AI?
Let's explore those demos in more
Okay.
detail. Okay, so
Yep.
let's get into those demos, the ones that you were mentioning.
Yeah.
OpenShift Lightspeed,
Right.
Ansible Lightspeed. What are they actually showing us? How is AI being used, in these real-world scenarios?
So OpenShift Lightspeed is a really good example of how AI can be used to simplify like a really complex platform,
Mm-hmm.
right? OpenShift itself is a really powerful tool for managing containerized applications,
Yeah.
but can have a really steep learning curve.
Oh, yeah.
Lightspeed actually uses AI to automate a lot of those tricky configurations
Hmm.
and management tasks that can be really time consuming for humans to do.
So it's kind of like having an AI expert guiding you through like setting up and running OpenShift.
Exactly, yeah. Instead of spending hours poring over documentation
Right.
and tweaking settings, you could literally describe what you want to achieve in plain English.
Wow.
And Lightspeed would handle the technical heavy lifting.
That's streamlining things in a big way.
Yeah.
What about Ansible Lightspeed? We talked about Ansible being this popular automation tool, but how does AI enhance that?
So Ansible is great for automating tasks,
Oh yeah.
right? But writing those Ansible playbooks can be challenging, even for experienced users.
Right.
Lightspeed actually leverages large language models
Right.
to understand your intent and translate that intent into Ansible code.
So instead of needing to like master Ansible syntax and commands,
Right.
you could just describe what you want to automate in plain English, and Lightspeed would generate the code for you.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could significantly lower the barrier to entry
Wow.
for using
Oh.
Ansible, making automation more accessible to a much wider range of users.
It's like having an AI assistant that speaks fluent Ansible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, taking care of all the technical details so you
Hmm.
can focus on the bigger picture.
Yeah. These demos are really showcasing how AI can augment human capabilities, not just replace them.
Right, right. It's giving us these tools
Hmm.
to help us work smarter, not harder. Speaking of creativity, earlier we touched on this demo that hinted at AI enhancing human creativity.
Oh yeah.
What was that all about?
Right. So the article mentions this tool called K8's SGPT,
Mm-hmm.
and it allows you to control Kubernetes, again,
Yeah.
using natural language, right?
Yeah.
It's like having a conversation with Kubernetes
Okay.
instead of writing complex code.
I'm starting to see the connection to creativity here, right?
Yeah.
If you can interact with a system as powerful as Kubernetes
Hmm.
using everyday language,
Right.
it could open up a whole new world of possibilities
Yeah.
for artists, designers, other creatives.
Absolutely. I mean, imagine a filmmaker who wants to create this like stunning visual effect, but doesn't have deep technical knowledge, right?
Mhm.
With KHGPT, they can simply describe their vision in plain English,
Mhm.
and the AI could translate that vision into the necessary Kubernetes configurations
Yeah.
to make it happen.
It's like having an AI-powered special effects team at
Exactly.
your fingertips.
At your fingertips. And it's not just limited to filmmaking, right? This type of technology could revolutionize any field
Right.
where creativity meets technology, right?
Yeah.
Music production,
Yeah.
architecture, scientific research, you name it.
It's exciting and it's a bit mind-boggling to
Hmm.
think about the potential, right?
Yeah.
But, as we've discussed, it's important to approach these advancements thoughtfully, right?
Oh,
We
absolutely.
need to make sure that AI is developed and used responsibly,
Mhm.
addressing, ethical considerations,
Right.
potential biases,
Mm.
the need for ongoing education
Yeah.
and
An
adaptation.
ongoing conversation,
It
right?
is.
It's not something that's, we figure out once and then we're done.
Yeah.
It's something that we need to constantly be thinking about.
Yeah, this deep dive has been a fascinating exploration of how AI is reshaping data management,
Yeah.
security, from the practical applications.
By streamlining OpenShift and Ansible to the mind-bending potential
Yeah.
of controlling these complex systems with natural language.
It's amazing how far we've come, even in just the last few years.
It really is.
Yeah.
We've seen demos that show AI is not just this futuristic concept.
Mm-hmm.
It's a present-day reality,
Right.
augmenting human capabilities,
Mm-hmm.
opening up new possibilities.
It's an exciting time to be working in this field, that's for sure.
Saad Sheikh's article, it points to a new era of telecom services shaped by AI.
Mm.
But I think the implications go far beyond just one industry, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
AI is poised to impact like countless aspects of our lives.
Mm.
So as we move into this new era, it's more important than ever to engage in these thoughtful discussions
Yeah.
about the role of AI in society and to make sure
Mm.
that it's used ethically and for the benefit of all.
Absolutely. It's not just about the technology itself, it's about how we choose to use it. Exactly. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I'll leave you with this.
Okay.
What role do you envision AI playing in your life
Huh.
in the future? How will it impact your work, your creative pursuits, your interactions with the world around you?
That's a great question. And it's one that, I think everyone should be asking themselves because the future of AI is in many ways up to us, right?
Hmm.
The choices that we make today
Yeah.
are going to shape the world of tomorrow.
Well said. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI
Yeah, this was fun.
and its impact on data management and security. We encourage you to check out Saad Sheikh's article
Right.
and the demo videos for yourself. You can find links to all the resources in our show notes.
And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. So join the conversation on social media using the hashtag the Deep Dive AI.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those big questions.